I'm here in Fallon, Nevada at Frey Ranch to pick a barrel of their delicious bourbon for the Brewzle Club. Join us as we learn more about how Colby and Ashley Frey pivoted their multi-generational family farm into distilling, not only to showcase the quality of the grains they produce, but also to make the farm stronger and healthier for future generations. We're gonna start with a quick taste of their bourbon in their tasting room. We're gonna jump right into the tour of the distillery, and then we'll go through the barrel selection process. Then we're going to end up back in the Rickhouse, where we try one of the most interesting and delicious whiskeys I've ever had in my entire life. And we're gonna end our tour here at Frey Ranch with a literal bang. Let's get started.
My name's Colby Frey. I am the founder, CEO, but I like to be called the whiskey farmer here at Frey Ranch. My family started farming here in northern Nevada in 1854. Nevada didn't become a state until 1864, 10 years later, and we've been continually farming in Nevada ever since. Ever since I was a little boy, I wanted to be a farmer, and I was able to buy it from my parents in 2009. But my grandpa bought this particular ranch that we're on right now in 1944. He saved up enough money, he had another farm on the other side of town, and lived in a dirt dugout for 3 years to save up enough money to buy this place. He bought it for $60,000 in 1944, and everybody said he was gonna go broke. And it's kind of crazy. Like today, you can barely buy a truck for $60,000. So I'm really fortunate, because without that, there's no way I could do what I do or be, have a distillery and be a farmer, because it's so hard with land prices and equipment prices and everything else.
Before we get into the tour, before we get into the history of Frey Ranch, we start with drinks. What are we pouring? What are our options here?
We got wheat, we got quad malt, we got our smoke series, we have 100% malted corn, our flagship bourbon, we have 100% rye, we got our farm strength.
What do you think's the best thing you have?
They're all good for different reasons. Okay. The most unique one, and the one that I kind of gravitate towards for like special occasions, is our quad malt. It's all malted, so it's malted wheat, malted corn, malted rye, and malted barley. So our flagship bourbon obviously has malted barley in it, and then wheat, rye, and corn. Well, this one has all 4 grains are malted, and so it's a little bit unique for that. And it's neat because it's the exact same mash bill as our bourbon. You can taste our 90 proof bourbon, you can taste our 90 proof quad malt side by side, and you get to see like what all the grains malted contributes flavor-wise.
Against my better judgment, I'm gonna try it. I'm not a malt whiskey guy. Man's living dangerously with the first pour.
This is a bourbon mash bill though, so it's malted, it's mostly corn, so we'll see.
It smells nice. It is not as good to me as the bourbon, but we might have found a malted whiskey I could get on board with. It's got some legs to it though.
Do you guys want to fill up with your glasses or something and go on a tour?
Let's do it.
What do you want to, you probably want the farm strength?
Yes, most definitely. My goodness. If y'all haven't had Frey Ranch, I don't know what you're doing, because I can't say more about it.
We started making whiskey and building our distillery in 2013. We didn't release our first whiskeys until 2019. What sets our whiskey apart from most other whiskeys is that we grow 100% of the grains right here on the farm. We call it from ground to glass, and we have total control over the entire process, from growing the grains all the way to putting it in the bottle. We can ensure that no corners were cut, and we can make sure that it's our whiskey and not somebody else's whiskey, and we're doing it our way, and we want to do it the right way. Traditionally, our production is 80% bourbon, 15% rye, and then 5% like specialty kind of fun stuff. And right now we just happen to be making like all of our specialty fun stuff. We're distilling a 3-grain bourbon right now, but we make 100% oat, 100% rye, 100% barley, 100% corn, we make quad malts, we make smoked single malts, we make all kinds of fun stuff. It's 5% of our production, but 95% of the fun. We have 2 different types of stills. Most distilleries have either a continuous still or a pot still. We have both. Alcohol has a lower boiling point than most liquids. Boiling point of alcohol is 172 degrees. You heat anything with alcohol in it above 172, the alcohol begins to boil. That boiling alcohol turns into a vapor. You collect that boiling alcohol vapor and condense it back into a liquid by cooling it. So essentially you're boiling out the alcohol. It's a fairly simple process. It's a little more complicated when you get to the stills, but we have a continuous still and we have a pot still. Right here we have mash, goes in the back top of the column. We inject steam at the bottom. The mash falls down the column, the steam heats it up, the alcohol boils, it goes through a series of condensers right there, and it comes out right here continuously. As long as we're pumping in mash at the top, steam at the bottom, it's a continuous process. The pot still is a little bit different. You fill it up, you wait for it to heat up, and the benefits of the pot still, in my opinion, are you can take a really detailed cuts. In all alcohol, there's things like methanol, acetone, a lot of other things that I can't pronounce that almost always have a lower boiling point than alcohol. What's great about the pot still is you can heat it up slow. You collect all that distillate that has that lower boiling point, which is called the heads, and we throw it away. Then the middle run, or the hearts, is what we want to keep in the middle of the distillation. Then towards the end is the tails, and it's just kind of oily and off flavored. It's just not the quality that we want to put in the barrel. That all has to do with boiling points. We feel like we can do a fine tune our product. You can tailor it better with a pot still. But the great part about a continuous still is you can do a lot of quantity. So we kind of got the best of both worlds here, where we can do the quantity with the continuous stills. We redistill everything in the pot still, where we can take a heads, a hearts, and a tails cuts. But now instead of putting 8% alcohol in the pot still, we're putting in 40% alcohol. We're getting 5 times more volume per batch. So now we're kind of getting the best of both worlds, where we get the quantity and the quality that we want. Our stills are made by Vendome Copper and Brass. They made all the big guys: Jack Daniels, Jim Beam, Maker's Mark, Buffalo Trace. Everybody has a Vendome still. At the time, they had made lots of continuous stills and lots of pot stills, but they never really made them where they work in unison together like this. A traditional setup would have a continuous still and a doubler right next to it, which is also a continuous process, a doubler. Anyways, we're really proud of it. When they built it, they put it together in the factory. It's one of a kind. They put it together in the factory. They took 2 pictures. They disassembled it. They sent it to us. We literally put it together ourselves looking at these 2 pictures. It's really kind of a blessing in disguise, because we really understand it. We know what it looks like on the inside. We know how it works, the principles of operation. Right after we got it all working, everything was working good, we called Vendome and said, hey, everything's working good. It was a little bit, tough to put it together looking at these 2 pictures. And he says, oh, I didn't send you the blueprints? I'm like, are you freaking? You had blueprints this whole time? And it was really, like I said, a kind of a blessing in disguise. With anything, if you really understand it, you can get the most out of it. And we really understand it by putting it together ourselves, really building it. We know why it does what it does. We can also fix it. We've never had an unplanned day of shutdown. Traditionally, grain's just grown on the commodity market. Animal feed is the biggest consumer of grain. Rarely is grain grown for a specific purpose. And so we grow the grain for whiskey. There's certain things that we can do in the farming side of it to make better quality for distilling purposes, but it almost always lowers our quantity. And so by growing it ourselves, we can sacrifice that quantity for quality. We were doing 10 batches a week. There's 11 barrels per batch, about 110 barrels per week. This never happens. We're getting ready to shut down for a couple days to replace all of our cooling lines. They're all copper and we're replacing them with stainless. So we only got 2 fermenters going right now. They're gonna distill these tomorrow, and then we'll be shut down for a couple days. Rarely do we shut down. Normally all the fermenters are full, and we run 3 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock at night distilling every day, 7 days a week. Anyways, we're mashing in right now Mountain Mahogany smoked bourbon. So it's our first smoked bourbon that we've ever made, that we actually smoked the bourbon. We've had some single malt smokes, barleys, but that's why it's so smoky in here right now. Grain has a lot of starch in it. Starch is essentially like a long sugar molecule, and so by cooking grain in the mash cooker, you break that starch into fermentable sugars. You add yeast, the yeast converts the fermentable sugars into alcohol. After it's done fermenting, we put it in the beer well. The beer well is basically a big agitation tank that keeps the liquids and the solids from separating. It's what's feeding into the continuous still right now. After it comes off the stills, it comes back here to the separator. So this is called a dewatering screw. We separate the liquids and the solids. The solids go to the dairy next door and get fed to the dairy cows. There's a John Deere tractor right here. It's about a half a mile away. Then the liquid goes into our irrigation system, and our ground here is a little bit on the alkaline side. The liquid that comes off here is very acidic, and so it helps balance the pH so we can grow better crops. The dairy makes manure. Manure is the best fertilizer there is. We bring that, spread it on the field so we don't have to buy a bunch of commercial fertilizer. And then it's kind of this nice relationship that we have with the dairy. I had a guy that stopped by the distillery, and they said they wanted to build a distillery in a town in California. They said just to dump this liquid down the drain, they'd have to put 20 parts water to every 1 part of the liquid. We go through about 4,000 gallons a day. That means we'd have to put 80,000 gallons of water with it just to dump it down the drain. Where we're actually being here on the farm, we're able to benefit from it and put it on the fields, and actually it's good for the soil and everything. Neat to be out here on the farm. You're able to utilize your byproducts and just be the most efficient, and we call it common sense sustainability. We just do it because it's the right thing, not because it's a trendy word or whatever. It's who we are as farmers.
I know they say it's 5 o'clock somewhere, but in the mornings, I need a little caffeine fix to get me going. And just like finding that perfect bourbon and appreciating the different flavor profiles, different coffees offer different tasting notes and aromas. Now, I've been trying to expand my coffee horizons, but finding the best craft coffees can be challenging when you're not sure where to start. And that's where today's partner, Trade Coffee, comes in. They work with over 55 roasters nationwide to help you find the best craft coffee. The goal is to find the perfect coffee for you, based on your particular flavor preferences. Trade does this by mapping your preferences to hundreds of different coffee flavor profiles. Trade sources the best coffee around the country and delivers it right to you. When I get my bag of Trade coffee, I know that it's been recently roasted to ensure premium quality and delivered exactly when I need it. And this month's shipment is another one that I can't pronounce. We'll just call it the Casa Blend. And this is Brazilian coffee from Sterling Coffee Roasters out of Portland. To be honest with you, this might be a little too intense from a delicate palate. So I did put just a touch of creamer in it, but that really opens up the notes of marshmallow and graham cracker. I'm starting to appreciate the differences between the different roasts and what the craft coffee industry has to offer. Trade Coffee makes it really easy to adjust my preferences and continuously find new coffee suited to me. If you want to try out Trade Coffee, then just head to drinktrade.com/Brewzle to sign up and save $15 on select plans and get your first bag of coffee for free. Let's get back to that video.
One of the nice things about being here in northern Nevada is we have very cold winters, we get hot summers, so it's perfect for aging. It's also perfect on the farming side, where really cold winters we can grow winter wheat, winter rye, winter barley, but hot summers we can grow really high quality corn. 80% of our production is bourbon, 15% is rye, and 5% is other fun stuff. And so we have 100% wheat, 100% rye, 100% malted barley, a Scotch style malted barley, we have 100% oat whiskey, a 5 grain with oats as the 5th grain. And so releasing new ones, our next big one that's gonna be kind of fun is our wheat whiskey. It's 100% wheat single barrel. So we've released our wheat whiskey before, but usually it's 100 or 107 proof, not single barrels, it's several barrels blended together, but we had some really phenomenal, fun wheat barrels. It's amazing to just see where we've came in the last 10 or 11 years.
That's what I'm talking about right here.
We farm about 2,500 acres, and to make about 100,000 cases of 9-liter cases of whiskey, we need 600 or 700 acres of that. We have a lot of room to grow still in the distillery if we wanted to, but that's a lot of whiskey, so I think that's enough. I'm starting to get gray hairs already here. And we don't only make the whiskey, we also grow the grains, and so it's a whole nother step. It's a lot more work, but it's really who we are as farmers. So we're in the barrel house now. It's unheated, unair conditioned. We want the whiskey to go through the seasons so that it expands during the hot summers inside the barrels. It contracts during the cold winters. That expansion and contraction pushes the whiskey into the wood, and it pulls it out of the wood. And it gets all of its color and a lot of its flavor from the barrels. We go to Kentucky and they always joke around, or they don't joke around. They always talk about how important they have 4 seasons, and we just start laughing because we get all 4 in one day sometimes. I mean, it's crazy. We'll get snow in the morning, and by afternoon you'll be in a t-shirt sweating, you know what I mean? And everything in between. And so it gets down to 0 degrees during the coldest part of the winter. It gets up to 108, 110 during the hottest part of the summer. If I came in here in the summer and I take off a bung, I mean, it shoots out. The pressure, the bung shoots out. If I come in the winter, it's got this like vacuum, like, you know, it sucks it in because it's in that contraction phase. Like I said, it's unheated and air conditioned, but it is humidified. At high humidity, you actually lose more alcohol than water. Now at low humidity, you actually lose more water than alcohol. So what happens at low humidity is your proof starts to go up and it can really get out of hand. Then to get it to 90 proof like we bottle it, or 100 proof like our rye or whatever, we'd have to add a lot more water, and then it's less flavorful, it's less concentrated. And so we actually want the whiskey to kind of stay in check so that we don't have to add in any more water than we have to, and it's still better quality, more concentrated, more flavorful. This barrel warehouse holds 1,456 when it's full. We have 2 that are 8,400 each, and I just started digging out the foundation pad for the 3rd barrel warehouse. That'll be another 8,400 barrel warehouse. 5 years old is our standard flagship bourbon. And it's kind of interesting because I think it's almost kind of similar to, like, in a way, Texas, where they age it too long, it turns into syrup, or, you know, it's super, super thick. I don't think we're quite that bad here, but I think it's a little accelerated. Our goal is to showcase the grains, right? As time goes on, the grain flavor is going down, the oak flavor is going up. You wait too long, it's just gonna taste like oak, in my opinion. And we did a barrel pick with San Francisco World Spirits Competition, and we gave them 2 4.5-year-old barrels, 2 5.5-year-old barrels, and 2 6.5-year-old barrels. They immediately kicked the 5 and the 6.5-year-old barrels out, and they were trying to decide between the 2 4.5-year-old barrels. They could tell that it's a 4-grain bourbon, and they could also taste the oak, and they felt like that was about the right amount, which is kind of neat to to see that. And we didn't tell them that they were 5.5 or 6.5 or what they were. My goal is to let them to 10 and then kind of see what they're at. But I think our 10-year-old whiskey might be over the top. There's a saying in the wine industry that we stole is you got to like what you make because you might end up drinking it all yourself. My style whiskey is our flagship bourbon, where it's like 5-ish years old. We did taste the 8-year-old whiskey, probably a year ago, and it was too oaky. And some people might like that, so there's nothing wrong with that. It's you like what you like, and I'm not going to tell you what you like or what's good or whatever. But for me, it was too oaky. The ryes, we had a lot of 6-year-old ryes, and we bottled them, and 6-7-year-old, close to 7-year-old ryes, and they can handle the oak a little bit more, I think, than the bourbon.
You guys already drank some, so that you're kind of acclimated, but normally we drink a little bit of the 90 proof bourbon first, just to kind of you're going from 0 to 90 to 125 or whatever.
Somebody's already drank mine.
You can have mine.
Typically what we do is there are no real rules. Just remember that you don't have to finish every glass. This is a democracy. So what we're typically going to do is rank them 1 through 6. Each person put their 1 through their 6, and then whichever one has the fewest points, that's the winner.
And there are a couple rules. No passing out in your truck afterwards. No throwing trash cans on your way out.
These sounds like things that have happened before.
Yep.
There's also coffee grounds, so believe it or not, coffee really cleanses your palate, like your olfactory, right? Your nut and nasal. Don't eat it. We've had somebody eat before. I say, oh, it cleanses your palate. They're just like, and I shouldn't have said palate, and they just like start eating it.
Sounds like all the rules are just guidelines at this point.
These are all heavy suggestions.
Yeah, that's what I said. A little less grain on it.
Those are really nice. Have you tried them?
3 to me tastes a lot
Today
like
I
I blended
picked up
1
a
and 2.
GTS.
I don't know, 2's hitting me really sweet though. Where you at, Jim? What are you on like so far?
So far, I'm on 3.
On 3, you think 3's the one so far?
For me.
So 3 on the top row seems to be the consensus.
I don't think there's a consensus yet. Let's not put words in people's mouths now. Sounds like it might be a little bit of a split decision on the first row.
If I start telling you I don't really like one too much, it's probably because I want that one.
I've drank them all at this point, I think, but this is the last
What do you think
one.
about 5?
I like 5. It drinks a little higher proof than most of them, though.
You got some rye barrels that literally taste like funfetti frosting.
I feel like you should let us buy those. 5's your favorite so far?
Number 2's good, but number 5.
So far, I've tried 6 of them I'd buy if they'd let me. There are 3 that stand out to me so far. For sure.
Every bottle, every barrel we pull down. Russell, me, sometimes Jesse, Ashley, everybody, but always me and Russell will taste every single barrel, and we'll kick out the kind of unique or the ones that we think stand out or whatever, and that goes into our barrel program. And so usually we'll pull down 110, 120 barrels and then taste through them all and kick out 10 or 20 for the single barrel program, but they're kind of, like I said, our favorites.
It's a tough contest. When I'm going through, there's usually 2. I was like, one of these 2 are going to win. And I still think we're there with this, though. But it's a lot closer across the board. Like on a lot of these, there's like usually 2 or 3 we can just kick out right away. There's not that here. I'm 5, 2, 3.
5 definitely is my top 4. I like 4.
12 votes for
I really
5,
like 1 too, though.
9 votes for 2, and 8 votes for 3.
So 5, 3, 2 are our top 3.
In that order. Can you guys go outside?
Let's pour them in a different order. We retry those. Now that our palates have acclimated to actually trying whiskey, let's see how this works out.
TJ, you're actually the person that got me into bourbon. I saw.
I'm the guy that got you into bourbon, and now you're here.
Yeah, I saw your spillway video. That was the first video I saw, and I'm like, I haven't had whiskey in a while. Maybe I'll try it. And here I am.
Okay, we wrote A, B, and C.
He's very sophisticated here. This is better than the folks at Short Barrel that put hieroglyphics on it, and it was confusing as could be. I went with, what is that symbol? I don't even know. The 7. He's got a 7. Over here were symbols. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 7 is 6. I don't know what they're doing here at Short Barrel. Everybody thought I was just drunk in that video. We had like 8 samples, and one of the hieroglyphics was a 7. It made like... So we had 7 was not number 7. It was strange. Okay, so I think the square one.
We didn't even mess with you guys. Half the time we'll write 1, 2, 3 on like every other one. I like number 1. Well, I like A.
I will be interested to see if the one I pick now, or if I get them in similar or the same order as before, because it's amazing when you go back through them and blind them how different it comes out. So there are 2 here. If they win, extremely satisfied with. There's 1, I'll be okay, it'll be fine, but I'd be surprised if it won. So don't pick the wrong one, Jason.
It's amazing when you stand up, let your palate get refreshed, how you sit back down, and it's just night and day.
So what are you thinking?
Thinking B.
I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but B's not going to win this. I would be surprised. That would be a shocker. I hope it does, because I like surprises. I don't think it's going to.
Yeah, that was not even Frey Ranch.
That's Evan Williams Bottle and Bond over there. I do like Jack Daniels. I don't know why people hate on Jack Daniels so much.
But I like how your video says Jack Daniels is great for mixing.
Yeah, old number 7. Old number 7 is a great mixer. But like Jack Daniels single barrel proofs, love those. Coy Hill, fantastic. The Rise are out of this world. So we just post a lot of videos. We'll do like Jack and Cokes or do something, and we just get those videos go viral, and we get millions of views on them. And it's just people like, Jack Daniels is trash, man. What is your problem? It's like, y'all must be drinking the wrong thing. I don't know what you're doing. Where you at, Jill?
I don't know, the first time I was totally opposite of what I am now. So I'm just giving myself a minute.
Raj, where you at?
Dude, I'm actually B, brother. I think he's good, man.
Well, B might have. I may be completely wrong about this.
Nobody's perfect. I love it.
You're right. Nobody's perfect, and in this case, it just happens to be the people picking B.
What's your pick?
Oh, C by a mile. Yeah. No, I do. I love A.
I love
I do love A. Like I would love to have C and A. I'm not hating on you if you chose B. I'm not. But B is good. B's a little more grain forward to me, and so if you like that grain forwardness, it's great. And I like a little grain, but I feel like the other two have a little more caramel going on. I think C again is that high proof one. I think that's the one that was 5. I could be wrong about that. My palate has gotten a little acclimated to the proof at this point, but 5 was my number 1. I think that's C.
No.
Number 2.
Don't try to change her mind.
Jill's pick, because this was for Jill.
Jill is the one that's like, we got to do a pick with Frey Ranch. If Jill says no, we're not taking it, even if y'all vote for it, okay? Just so y'all know.
The first time I ever had Frey Ranch was our liquor lineup pick.
Love that pick. So
Oh
good.
my gosh.
We had to steal his bottle.
Yeah, they stole my
Thank
bottle.
goodness
We stole his
got
bottle,
a
too.
second one, because he kept giving it to people at home. I'm like,
Oh, it's so good. Y'all gotta
I
try
am a
this.
very giving person, but don't give this.
I think we got it in December of 22.
There was 5 C's. There was 2 B's and 1 A. A was 3, B was 2, C was 5.
Did we pick one?
Yeah.
See, the one we picked, who made the barrel?
Barrel 53.
Barrel 53 is the company that makes it, okay. Okay.
Yeah, so 3 was number 1, 2, 5. So A, B, C.
It's actually crazy because number 2 was my second best going through the first time, and then when I went back to them, I flipped it. But I did stick with my number 1 all the way through. So what was the proof? 24, okay.
So you guys, we gotta go sign the barrel now. You gotta mark your.
We got to sign the barrel now.
Before we leave, we do have some swag bags for you guys. It's kind of a tradition. We give everybody that comes to the ranch work gloves.
We didn't get a sample. We got a bottle. You don't happen to have little bottles or something around here, do you? Yeah. I'll keep this, and then y'all pour that, and y'all just take that with y'all. What'd you think?
Good time.
What do you think of the selection here?
Me and Lee both said it's the hardest.
It is the hardest. It is the most, I won't say most controversial because we picked an excellent barrel. This was the toughest decision out of all the barrel picks we've done. Out of all the picks we've done, where does this rank?
He is the same age
Like,
as
not, we're just talking about the quality of the whiskey because that's all everybody else is going to get.
Ben Holiday and this are close. This was definitely the hardest
On the tier with Ben Holiday, those two are on a tier by themselves.
By themselves.
by far. Experience, whiskey, selection process, hospitality. These guys have been great.
Someday Ben Holiday is actually going to figure out how to get those barrels in Texas so we can sell them to everybody. We might drop these and that at the same time. Like, honestly, no joke. These might be available. I hope these are available in April, and that might be when we drop the Ben Holidays that we picked months ago. They're figuring it out. Texas is not an easy state if you've never been in there. So we are going to go try maybe some different random things they pulled. We're going to sign the barrel before we get out of here. We've had a great time here at Frey Ranch so far, but the party continues for at least a little while longer. So they have a little Malort here at Frey Ranch. For the Chicago guys right here, I'm not trying this today. I've been holding off till we go to Chicago. We're going to try Malort for the first time. What is it?
Stomach bile and Band-Aids mixed times 2.
Some of my 2 favorite things.
It's like a hot dumpster during a heat wave.
You went with the pallet stacking in these Rickhouses?
It's so much more efficient.
So you just use a forklift to get them down, and what is crazy?
The amount of barrels you got in here.
What'd you say, 8,600 barrel? 8,400 barrels per Rickhouse? So how do you get to the ones in the back? You just have to move all of them?
Yeah, pretty much.
So how is that more efficient?
Just because the other ones, if you want to get to the back, you got to roll them all out into these racks. It's a huge pain in the ass. Whereas these, I mean,
If I'm pulling 102 barrels out for a blend, I can do it in about 20 minutes in here, 102 barrels. It takes 2 days to pull them out of the Rickhouse.
Okay.
Well, you got them rolled in way up there, and you got to put the machine up there. Somebody's got to climb back there. They got to roll them out on the machine. They got to drop them down, pull them out.
You just want to make sure they're all like similarly aged where they're located, I guess,
We
right?
fill them,
Yeah.
So you have them like this versus like them like this.
We found every variation of side bung barrels and the same thing. They taste different, but every barrel tastes different.
No,
you know what I mean? But
tastes
we couldn't tell any difference between side bung or top bung.
Let's go. Let's sign it. Everybody sign the barrel. So we get a lot of people reaching out about what we should do with the barrels. Right now I've been just collecting barrels and we've been putting beer in it with red clay, but y'all let me know if there's some cool thing we should do right here with this Frey Ranch barrel.
I think we should keep the barrel head at the house.
Well, we haven't signed all of them, but from now on we should probably do something interesting with
so
them
this
for
one,
sure.
since we signed, I think you should shellac it to protect it and keep the barrel head.
I think you may value your signature more than other people do. Like I don't.
I'm just saying it's cool.
A lot of people ask, can I have the barrel? And I was like, I can only give away the barrel once. Is there something cooler we could do with it? I don't know. Y'all are creative. Let me know. Let's try some wheat. Yes. Yes. This is your barrel. Okay, so scratch that. This barrel's Jill's barrel, but on future barrel picks, what should we do with the barrel when it's not Jill's barrel? Now, what are we trying?
This is wheat whiskey, 100% wheat. This is going to be one of our single barrels.
So this is the 100, like this is going to be similar to the 100% wheat bottle we just bought.
Yeah,
we just picked one of those up.
750, and it's a single barrel. It'll be cast strength.
Oh man, if my bottle I bought smells like, ooh, can I have that barrel?
What is going on here?
It's like a caramel honey bomb. What are you doing with that barrel? That one barrel right there. What are you doing with that barrel?
It's going to be our single barrel. Barrel
your single barrel?
We call it Distillery's Reserve.
So you're going to release it here?
A little over 6. This one's almost 8.
So this one is not as in your face, but it might be better. It is so like
more balanced.
Sophisticated.
One of the best things I've had in a very long time.
Before this, what's the best thing you've had in a long time?
I really liked the 13th Colony pick you did.
Okay.
And then I had a Coy Hill.
You had a Coy Hill.
Hazmat.
This is better than
Beats
that?
it by far. I think this is way better. It just keeps going. The nose is delicious. It's so sweet and so it's amazing.
First of all, he said it. I didn't say it. I didn't say it was better than Coy Hill. He said it was better than Coy Hill.
It's better than
but
Coy
also, no comment. I'm just going to let him say that because I don't want the hate.
It's better than Coy Hill. I'll fight you on it. I'll fight you on it. It's delicious.
It is a different experience than a Coy Hill for sure. What do you think of the first one, Jill?
The first one's
100% wheat whiskey.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. This is like a dessert. You know, you
How
can
good that
have
is.
this after dinner or whatever, but this is crazy good. We might as well buy this.
I want it so bad. I want it so bad.
Let's just pick this up, man. I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah, can we just forfeit the other barrel and take this one instead?
Hey, let's just start.
They left.
Yeah.
Nobody's looking.
Hey, what if we all sign this top and wheeled it over there real quick? We're just going to pick random ryes.
We're not trying to do too much.
Here, just open up your mouth.
What's the mash bill on this?
It's really hard, actually.
Okay.
It's 100% rye.
So it's 100% like malted rye, or like you just
No malted.
just
100%
rye. Okay.
Yeah, that's what's crazy. Is I give more rye spice in our bourbon. That's 11.4%. It's got bazooka bubblegum, root beer barrels, and mint.
You know one of those?
That's weird.
What is this one?
Yeah, that's
Like
another rye.
7-year, 3-month-old.
It's just a little different. This is the next rye.
Oh, this is better. When I say this is better, this is a little more traditional. For a single barrel, it's probably not better.
But it's good.
I probably said the wrong word. Yeah, this is great, but that other one was just weird. You will never have anything like that last barrel of rye.
People always think when they're ready to try rye, people always say, "Oh no, I don't like rye; it's too spicy." I'm like, "What do you mean by spice?" And they're like, "Oh, I don't like the heat. I don't like the burn on my cheeks." I says, "You don't like the offense to your palate. That has nothing to do with spice. That's improper distillation. Spice would be the difference between white bread and rye bread. You should get those extra pop of flavors, but you shouldn't get that heat and that offense to your palate that most ryes do."
This your first barrel pick?
First barrel pick.
What do you think?
It is amazing.
I mean, it's always more fun when they bring us into the Rickhouse. Now, some folks will bring us into the Rickhouse for the pick, and we just start going through barrels. But the polish, but then we end up in the Rickhouse, a lot of fun. Okay, so this is a rye in an ISC barrel. So ISC is a cooperage that makes barrels. We've had a lot of different whiskey from a lot of different barrels. Who makes the barrel has a profound impact on what that whiskey tastes like. You know, where they get their oak, how it's seasoned.
And
that is clean.
ISC, like I want to come up, I want to talk about how we make barrels, so holler at me. Like I'd love to do that video. That would be a lot of fun. We want to come do a whole video on cooperage and barrels and, you know, the different things y'all do to barrels and how that impacts how whiskey tastes like. One more? This ISC was really good.
We got one more. I don't know. We named it Raspberry. It tastes like raspberry rye.
Okay, that you sold me. Sold.
Come back.
You like this?
I don't need to come back. I'm trying it right now. This one's good. It's slightly more rye forward than the ISC. There's a little more rye going on. It's delicious though.
Don't waste your time on
This
trying
one,
to get the wheat.
no wheat at all.
Ain't gonna happen this year.
No wheat.
No, I mean, right?
Always says when he wants to keep it for himself. So many people will be in the office and be like, "Oh, don't pick that one."
What if I said I'd just mail you a case of it? Could I get one? Like it ain't gotta be one of the
case for it, guys. I always tell people if you can pick a barrel up by yourself and put it in your vehicle, you take it.
You take it.
But I'm not saying that this time.
You'd be surprised what I mean. Like we'll try.
So I don't know what's going on.
I know.
It's a rack show.
They're fantastic. I want them all. Kudos to y'all for that. We have had a great barrel pick experience here at Frey Ranch. We are going to end this with cannon fire. I saw the cannon. I was like, what's up with the cannon? They're like, we can shoot the cannon. And the answer to that is always yes. Unfortunately, we were not able to secure the wheat whiskey that we wanted so much. The barrel pick we had here is absolutely top tier. We only got one barrel. There's only going to be so many. It's going to go to top tier of the Brewzle Club. Join the Brewzle Club if you can. We're limiting the membership right now because there's only so many barrels we can get each month, but we will be adding more and more barrels. We're talking with folks here at Frey Ranch. Maybe we could get more barrels next year. So we're going to be broadening out how many barrels we get each and every month. But for now, we're trying to drop a certain number of barrels. I don't even want to say a number because that goes up every couple of months, but every 2 months we're trying to have releases at the Brewzle Club. This Frey Ranch pick will be one of those, and so there's only going to be so many bottles available. Our goal is for each of the Brewzle Club tiers to have access to a really interesting bottle of whiskey. So we're doing some fun things over at Brewzle Club. If you're interested in that, you can find out more at brewzle.com. Check that out. Let me know. This pick was exceptional, but let's get to the cannon fire. We got the cannon ready?
It's an old Civil War cannon where if you pull the pins, you can take the wheels off, put it on a horse, take it wherever it needs to go. Okay, so I'm gonna put the charge in it. So this is just gunpowder. So normally, like if we were gonna really shoot something, we'd hammer in a cannonball, but we'll just fire a blank this time. Okay, now the only trick is don't pull it up. If you pull it up, you could pull this out.
Okay,
just kind of
pull
pull
it
it
out.
sideways.
Gotcha.
And all you do is just kind of pull it straight through.
Okay.
All right, definitely don't walk in front of it now.
Y'all ready?
Yes, sir. Go it. Hit it, ball.
Oh! I don't know if there's a better end to a barrel pick than that right there, Lord. I mean, if we could have shot at something, that might be a slight step up. It's been a fantastic time here at Frey Ranch. We had an awful lot of awesome Brewzle Club members join us for this pick. What do y'all think? What do y'all think about this pick?
Fantastic.
You like first pick ever?
First pick
Good
ever.
time. You have a good time?
Who wants to have a cannon?
Nobody else had a freaking cannon. We had a good time. We'll catch y'all in the next one.